When sanctions are imposed on a country, the devastation caused to citizens is often much greater than what the authoritarian regime and the country's elite experience. Sanctions are often labeled an injustice to the people because, by comparison, the regime barely feels any of the side effects. Let's use Iran as an example, since the US reimposed sanctions on them August 6, 2018. The Iran regime versus the Iranian people. Sanctions cause instability in the economy, as broken down in our last video.
What are sanctions, and how do they affect the country's economy?
Iran's regime consists of the unelected supreme leader, the Guardian Council, and the Revolutionary Guard Corps. Iran's regime owns 60% of the economy through state-controlled enterprises. Those enterprises are not going to feel the same economic squeeze that the other 40% of businesses in Iran will feel. During imposed sanctions, Iran's regime restricts subsidies on food staples, electricity, water, and gas to preserve resources. Those within the regime were still benefiting, while many Iranian citizens could barely afford meat. During the 2012 Iranian sanctions, the price of chicken increased 30% and the price of vegetables increased 100%.
You're fired.
During this time, unemployment increased to 35% because of layoffs that resulted from the inability to import necessary goods. But most in the regime kept their jobs and had no problem putting food on the table. The regime channels economic resources to its base of support. The Iranian rial value fell and decimated the life savings of many Iranians. US sanctions in Iran obstructed the transfer of money to foreign banks. With the depreciation of the rial, a high demand for the dollar formed. This was due to the need to pay for foreign expenses and protect the value of Iranian savings before the rial became completely worthless. The regime's reaction to the increased demand for the dollar was to order the Iranian central bank to impose a limit of supply on foreign currency to individuals. This eventually led to banning any Iranian from trading rials for dollars. This created a regime-influenced black market for foreign currency exchange that was almost twice the price of the official rate, entirely taking advantage of less fortunate Iranians who ended up trading their rial for a higher price. The regime was still able to trade the rial at the official rate and pocket the profits from the black market while sending many Iranians into destitution. With the crackdown from your country's guard, the depreciating worth of your country's currency, the layoffs, and the lack of jobs available due to stressed business owners, following the hyperinflation for basic necessities, including food and medicines, and a president whose main concern is to stay in power, how do you think you would fare? These are the injustices of sanctions, and why sanctions should be imposed on the regime and not the people.